Hey y'all, and welcome to PolitiBrawl. My name is Brian, and Donald Trump is putting the media on blast and reminding us not only how powerful he is on camera, but how right he is when it comes to the inflation problem. Let's dive in.
The Democrats are good at a few things: cheating on elections and conning people with facts that aren't true. It was 25%. Walmart just announced it 2 days ago. 25% cheaper this year will be cheaper to have Thanksgiving than it was a year ago under Sleepy Joe Biden.
You say affordability is a con job, as you put it.
Say it.
You said affordability was a con job, and you didn't want to. You said last night you didn't want to talk about affordability.
I talk about it. When did I not want to talk about it? I talk about it all the time. We are much better than Biden and all of them. Now, just so you understand, do you remember that the Biden administration had the highest inflation in 48 years, but most people say ever recorded? Do you remember that? Right? Do you remember it? Did they have the highest inflation in 48 years? Did they? Just answer me the question. You know the answer. The answer is yes. They had the worst inflation in 48 years. We have almost no inflation. We're down now to 2%, and we'll be at maybe 1%. You want to always stay above 1%, actually. You want a little tiny bit of inflation. We're at a perfect number. They were at the highest level in recorded history, okay? And when you talk about affordability, that one fact. Now, let's talk about the second biggest subject after inflation, energy. We're going to be at $2 gasoline. We're going to be approximately $2 very soon. We're a little bit above $2 right now for gasoline. Now, under Biden, it was $4.50. It even hit $5, but it was $4, $3.50. We're going to be at $2 a gallon. So gasoline's much less. Energy costs are less. When you have energy and when you have gasoline less, everything else follows. It's such a big category. So when you have lower energy prices, which I think you admit we do substantially, that means everything else. So we are the victors on affordability. But if I watched that election, which I was not much involved in, I didn't support Virginia, the candidate, didn't do a lot of support for the other candidates. They asked me about Cuomo, and I said, well, it's a question, do you want a thug or do you want a communist? I mean, that was my response. So I wasn't involved in that stuff too much. But I will say this. If you look at affordability, which they campaigned on, they lied because they talked about, oh, prices are up. No. Prices are down under the Trump administration, and they're down substantially. Energy prices are down by 30, 35, 40%. Gasoline is way down. And the other big thing is inflation is way down. The biggest thing is inflation. The second biggest thing is energy. Energy is way down. And what's also down? Gasoline. Also, the biggest thing is inflation, and it's way down. We took over a mess, the highest inflation in recorded history. Some people would say 48 years. I'll take either one of them. But I believe it's the highest inflation in recorded history. That alone makes it impossible for them to have done a good job affordability-wise. And one other thing. When I came into office, Victor, 2 days into office, they were screaming at me about the cost of eggs. I was there for 2 days. Eggs had quadrupled. And I said, listen, I just got here. Let me check it out. And they were right. Eggs had gone up by 3-4 times. Within a period of a few months, we had eggs down to a normal cost. We did a great job on groceries and affordability. The only problem is the fake news. You people don't want to report it. And, in fact, I'd like to ask Caroline. Where's Caroline? I'd like to ask Caroline a question. Where is she? Did she? Uh-oh. She deserted us. She deserted me. Our great Caroline superstar deserted me. Anyway, she's right outside. She was going to talk about, because the fake news yesterday, they talked about that. They said, oh, I don't want to talk about affordability. The reason I don't want to talk about affordability is because everybody knows that it's far less expensive under Trump than it was under Sleepy Joe Biden. And the prices are way down. Caroline?
Yes, sir.
Could you discuss that question that was asked and how it was asked in such a fake, disgusting manner by the fake news?
Yeah, and I just saw it asked again here, and it's very unfortunate that the reporters in this room refused to address, sir, what you just said, which is that you inherited the worst inflation crisis in modern American history, and you are fixing it in 10 short months. And your entire administration has been tasked with this effort, from Treasury Department to Agriculture Department to the National Economic Council right here at the White House. They are slashing regulation. He signed the largest middle class tax cut in 6 months. In 6 months, in record time, putting more money back into the American people's pockets. So affordability is what the American people elected this president to do, and he is doing it, and you guys refuse to cover it, and you refuse to cover that the previous administration created the worst unaffordability crisis in American history. And I've been watching the TV all day saying that he doesn't want to talk about affordability. That's what he's working on every day. And
That's what I'm talking about right now. But you know why they refuse to cover it?
Can I get
Because
her
they're
for
fake
someone?
news. That's why. Go
Can I
ahead.
get her someone?
Sure. Caroline, the Prime Minister would like you to work for him in Hungary.
Please consider. Please consider.
You know what? That's a very good decision you just made. Please don't leave us, Caroline.
As usual, Trump said absolutely nothing wrong. As a matter of fact, I love what he specifically brings up in here. Remember, about this time last year, we were all talking about the price of eggs, because under Joe Biden, they had a chance to mitigate a lot of the problems with the bird flu. But they did nothing. Absolutely nothing. And then Trump gets into office and starts working with these farmers because they had to cull all of these herds of chickens. As a matter of fact, one of the few places in the entire country that wasn't dealing with the poultry problem were the chicken farms here in the South, here in Georgia, because we were protected by the Appalachian Mountains. We were able to sort of stop things at certain borders and kept things from getting worse and worse as the bird flu spread. So that's really a testament to good state policies. But Trump then worked with these farmers and tried to make sure that they were going to be able to replenish these chicken flocks as fast as possible. Joe Biden didn't do that at all, because he thought that was going to be a non-issue. He knew that he couldn't trust Kamala Harris with it. By the way, in the book Original Sin, basically one of the main themes of the story is they never once trusted Kamala Harris. They just picked her because she checked a couple of boxes. So they never gave her anything to do and never trusted her to do a good job. And so they were constantly in shock about how bad she was as a vice president. So it was no shock that she was bad as a presidential candidate. And what does that have to do with the price of eggs? Well, simply put, the Democrats ignored it and the mainstream media ran with the story, or at least at the time it was, why are you complaining about this? You could have other foods, right? No, we've been priced out of them. Quite literally, the Inflation Reduction Act increased inflation. Because you can't call it the Inflation Increase Act. That's not going to roll off the tongue too well. And it's also not going to go down well with the other voters. So, Donald Trump gets into office and he starts reversing Biden policies. Biden had a policy that put a cap on any new oil or gas drilling on U.S. federal lands. Sorry, not even putting a cap, quite literally stopping the flow of it. You can't file new claims. Trump said, screw that, we're going to drill, baby, drill. And now energy prices have come down. U.S. oil markets and exports are up. And guess what? That means cheaper gas. Okay, I just drove by the local Quick Trip. Gas is down. It's lower than I've seen in years. This is what good policy looks like, ladies and gentlemen. And you know what Trump reminds me of here? He reminds me of his interview with Joe Rogan. That was an amazing piece of, cinema, almost. Watching a man talk at length about how windmills in the ocean are forcing whales to beach themselves. On its face, it sounds like such a dumb topic. Why would a president care about this? And then it hits you. Oh, he actually understands how to put different pieces together to craft good policy. I don't think we've had a president like that since Eisenhower. Do you know how rare that is in politics? That you get someone with such an unusual understanding of policy from such an outsider's perspective. That doesn't happen. And when we got Eisenhower, who's the top 5 president in my book, we basically kept all the good stuff that we were doing after World War II and made sure that we just kept doing it. Trump, on the other hand, has had the policy of trying to reverse the problems of the Biden administration, and he's done a pretty good job. And instead of being thankful, the mainstream media is running with all this nonsense about how bad of a job he's doing. It's going to take some time. It's going to take some time to reverse this. I'm expecting better numbers in 2026. The Christmas numbers this year I don't think are going to be too good because it takes a while to fight this inflation. You're not seeing the prices drop now. You will later. You will later because once companies realize, oh, they got to drop their prices in order for their stuff to sell, they're going to start doing it. People are going to start realizing that the easy stuff is over, and it's time to start cutting prices so Americans start buying more. That's what is going to happen. I think Trump is going to make that very possible, but I think the coolest thing about all of this is actually calling in Caroline Leavitt, who is outside of the meeting room at the time. Just as quickly as she could, she automatically knew the script. I don't think this was scripted because Trump doesn't operate like that. Most politics is mostly theater. You see people reading from the script all the time. That's what they do in the House and the Senate. They know what person is going to say what for what speech and what committee. They plan all this stuff out. Trump doesn't. It's unpredictable. And I love it. It is fresh. It's new. It's better for the American people. And you know what? It's efficient. This is a much better administration than it was the first time around. And I'm loving the way things have been improving just over and over and over again. And meanwhile, you have the mainstream media essentially lying about all this nonsense. Or, at worst, lying by omission. Instead, Caroline Leavitt comes up and immediately starts talking about all of the positives that are coming out of the Trump administration because she knows it by heart because she's there in the room. She sees it. She's in the room where it happened. I am loving this administration. And I know it sounds like I'm sort of glazing the president here. Well, after the job we saw under Joe Biden, a man who wasn't getting up until noon and then wouldn't even talk with the press, much less remember foreign dignitaries' names, this is just so much better. That's why the shirt's out today. Mean Tweets, Cheap Gas 24. Well, mean tweets are back. The cheap gas is back. We're starting to win again. We're starting to finally get a clamp down on inflation. And guess what? It all started with the price of eggs. Folks, my name is Brian. Hope you enjoyed that segment here on PolitiBrawl. Don't forget to like and subscribe. Catch you on the next one. And hey, if you want to keep supporting the work that we do, it'll go a long way. If you become PolitiBrawlers, consider becoming members for a couple dollars a month. You'll get specially curated content to stuff that you actually want to see. This will keep us sleek. This will keep us independent. And will keep us giving news you can actually use. Till next time, y'all have a good one.